How are you doing, Boo?
I'm good. I'm good. I was in a rainy, cold soccer game today.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
I was like trying to be a good sport, but my inner bougie girl was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so cold and I'm wet."
Yep,
But
I remember playing in the snow.
yeah, I was like, "Do they play in the rain?" He was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh,
Oh, man. Alrighty. So I asked in the team page about what were some things that would be really beneficial for you right now for this team call. So I really want this to be like open, but I also want to address why I said that and give a little come to Jesus moment and also answer the question that Jen posted before we ask any new questions. So Beachbody hasn't released its like Diamond Insider email for November yet because it's still pretty late. October 31st is a Saturday, and normally the last Sunday of the month we do our marketing calendar for the next month. So we're just going to do it on November 1st instead of the last Saturday of October. We'll do it on the first Sunday of November. That way we have all the information from Beachbody because I like to put everything in that PowerPoint and then kind of go back through the email and just make sure I've included everything that I need to include. So here's my come to Jesus moment. I was just sharing with everybody before I started recording that I am like all in my feels today. I'm having a rough day emotionally. I miss my family. I miss my kids. I'm tired. I am like pulled in 15 different directions at school right now, but I did not use that as an excuse to say I'm not going to prepare for tonight's team call. I didn't use it as an excuse to say I'm not going to show up to tonight's team call. I wanted to. I did not feel like being here tonight, but I know that my goals require me to be here tonight, so I'm here tonight. So I'm just sharing that because you have to understand that even the people who show up on a consistent basis don't always feel like showing up. And we all go through stuff. We all have stuff going on in our lives that is chaotic or stressful or sad or, whatever. And we still choose to show up. And I'm saying that for those of you that are kind of struggling right now. Life is just not normal. It hasn't been for a long time. And we kept talking for a long time about giving ourselves grace and giving one another grace. And yes, we need that and we deserve that to an extent. But at what point do we just continue to give ourselves grace and completely lose sight of what we were working toward before 2020 hit? And at what point do we say, okay, this is not grace. This is like me allowing myself to settle, to have excuses, to like wallow in self-pity. There has to be this point where we decide, okay, enough with the grace, time for some accountability. So this is your accountability call. Okay. It's time to make sure that, yes, love yourself through it, give yourself grace through it, but show up, because a lot of us are not showing up in many facets of life right now. I've shared extremely openly my struggle with my weight gain throughout this last year. I'm going to stop giving myself grace with it, and I'm going to start holding myself accountable with it because it's time to make a change and get where I want to be. Same with your business. So many of us have goals, or we say we have a goal. It's hard to really like say this is my goal if it's not something you're willing to work toward, because then it's not really a goal. If you're going to call it a goal, then it needs to be something that you're actually willing to put forth some effort and take the steps that need to be taken even when it's uncomfortable to achieve it. If it's just something you want, then just say it's something I want. If you would love for it to be handed to you on a silver platter, that's okay. But then it's not a goal. Okay. Like, I mean, I would love to not have to work anymore and be a millionaire. I mean, if someone just handed me the money, that'd be great, but it's probably not going to happen. So I guess I got to start showing up, kind of thing. So keep that in mind. I'm saying this with all the love in my heart because we've got to stop being like, well, it's been a hard year. Yeah, it has. But we're not going to allow 10 months to dictate the next 10 years. And that's what some of us are doing right now. Like, it's been a rough 10 months, but you know what? Honestly, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here. I don't foresee it changing in the next 10 months. So you can either live like this and keep like making excuses and like wallow in these last 10 months and live the next 10 months the same way. Or you can say, okay, I did my time. I'm done feeling sorry for myself. I'm done with all the grace. I'll just give myself a little bit of grace, and it's time for me to start showing up for me. You've got to decide that. It's a conscious decision, even on the days when you don't feel like doing it. I'm so glad that I did it today, even without wanting to do it, because there's more faces on this call than there were last week, and it's filling my heart. It's filling my cup. So thank goodness I'm here. I would have missed out otherwise, and you would have too. Now, Jen asked a really good question today, and I think this is particularly good for new coaches. So, and I know we have some new coaches in the team, so I really want to make sure we go over this. Jen's question was, I need some scripts for when the questions start coming. So Jen, I'm going to shout her out right now because Jen and I are in this group on Facebook right now together. What's it called, Jen? What's the name of the group?
It's Allie Lit's 6 Fix Life or something.
Yeah. So it was called like 80 day 6 fix. And what it is if there's 80 days left in the year, and there are 6 things that we can do each day for those last 80 days that are going to help us be more accountable. And it's almost like it reminds me so much of the book, The Miracle Morning, or whatever that book is, because it tells you like a couple things to do every day to like set the tone for your day. And the very first one is to make your bed. And I'll admit, I'm not someone who makes my bed on a daily basis, but I have been making an effort to do this because one of the things she says is, even if you have a horrible day, when you come home, your bed's made, and at least that's one thing that went right today, or one thing you did right today. And right now, yeah, that some days that is, or it feels like it's the one thing. And it's a lot more feasible than the 75 hard challenge was. You're doing a 30-minute workout a day. You're getting in 10,000 steps a day. You're getting in a gallon of water a day. What else is it? What am I missing? The bed, 10,000.
Meal plan.
Follow a meal plan. You get to decide which one. Oh, and meditation. 10 minutes of prayer or meditation every day. So it's really just like healthy practices. And for me, it's been another level of accountability. And for Jen and me in this Facebook group, if you want to join the group, I encourage you to do it. We are expanding our funnel because all of these women are in this group. All of them have accepted this challenge. Some of them are saying, how are you guys getting in your 30 minutes of exercise every day? How are you doing this? When I started this challenge, I was at 300 pounds, and today I'm at 294. I'm so excited. Like, there's all these little opportunities for us to connect. I posted saying, who in here has a Peloton? Share your handle below. So like all these people have started following me on the Peloton app now because we shared that we all have one. It's just been a really great opportunity to connect with new people and to start new conversations. Jen has done a better job at this than I have because she has put in the time to start getting these conversations going. She's making a face, but believe me, she has. So I wanted to direct you to this header page where all of these amazing links are. Got to give props to Christy because she's the one that set this up. The team Google Drive is right here. Forgive me, I'm like a little congested. All right. So here's our team Google Drive. I wanted to share with you that we have scripts in here. Oh, maybe they're not in the Google Drive. Hang on a second. They might be in our albums.
There should be a link on the header that also has scripts attached.
Oh, well, let me do that then. I'm glad you're here, Christy.
Sorry. I'm
No.
sorry.
What's that?
I said sorry. I'm so tired today. I was like talking to you like a hot mess.
Oh, you're fine. No, I think everyone is answering questions. Here we go.
That one, and then there's also one called Action Hour. Conversations and invite examples go up.
Right.
Action Hour, conversations and invite and examples, how to invite to virtual boot camps, and then the one under that too.
Awesome. Okay. So I have a new coach, Joy, who just joined the team. You guys probably saw me introduce her to the team. And she has been on a roll with conversations, mostly because she's just so excited about her own journey. And so she's sharing it with her coworkers and all this stuff. And the other day she was asking me for help with a conversation. And one of the things that I said to her was, and I think we all need this reminder sometimes, because even sometimes still I find myself doing this, do not word vomit on people. It is so easy when you feel passionate about something and when you've had success and you're excited about something to be like, bleh, and just share everything all at once. The best advice I can give you is to have a conversation like you would with any normal human that you ran into face to face. If you were to talk to someone in line at the supermarket about one of the foods in your shopping cart, you wouldn't just say, oh, you think that food's cool? You should join my accountability group. Like, that's not how a conversation naturally unfolds. So let the conversation naturally unfold. Sometimes I still feel super awkward sharing what I do as a coach, only because I don't know how to do it without word vomiting sometimes, because it is something that has legit changed my life, legit changed your life. So how do you like hold back from just spewing everything out, right? When that happens. But if we spew everything out, people are like, this chick's crazy. Get me out of here. It makes them so uncomfortable. And then we feel uncomfortable and everything gets awkward and it goes nowhere. So it's really important for you to make sure, number one, that when you start these conversations, start them organically, start them authentically, but also make sure that you are asking them questions. Don't just give them all this information. Ask them what they're looking for. Ask them what their goal is. Ask them what they've done in the past and what's worked and what hasn't worked. Get to know them. So the biggest thing that I wanted you to take away from this is we have all of this information right here at our fingertips. We just need to know where to go to access it. So here are a bunch of examples of how to invite to our accountability groups from our Instagram stories. Last week, we had a working call and we created all these Instagram stories that we can use and reuse and repurpose so that time is no longer an issue for us. Because let's be real, time is an issue for everybody. But if we use that excuse, then we're never going to be able to help anybody, because if we're complaining about time, imagine the people who aren't already motivated, who aren't already understanding why they need to show up. Because when you say you need to show up and you say, oh, never mind, I don't have time, that's showing that whatever you said you were going to show up for really isn't a priority to you. We've already made the decision that this is a priority to us. That's why we're here. The people we're trying to help, have not decided it's a priority. That's why we're trying to help them. So if it's not a priority to them, time is definitely going to be the biggest issue. So make sure that what you're doing is something duplicatable. If you haven't made your slides, go back and make them. Spend 30 minutes making those slides so you can reuse them, because then it leads you to these conversations like this. Hey, thanks so much for watching my stories. Today was a really rough workout, but I'm so glad I did it. And man, was it amazing to have my virtual group there with me so that I showed up even though I didn't feel like it this morning. That kind of thing. This is all script right here showing you what to say to invite and then what to say to follow up. I will say this. If you're not having these conversations, if you're not getting someone into your DMs and asking these questions and doing this, then there's no point in even knowing where the scripts are, because you cannot use these scripts on your Facebook feed or on your Instagram post in the comment section. You have to get to the conversation that is one-on-one. So if you're not doing that, then back up, stop looking at the scripts, and start having the conversations. Then when you get hung up on a script or in a conversation, come here. Were you going to say something, Tara?
Yeah, I was. I don't know if you all have done this, but have you all ever just got tired with the texting back and forth and just okay, there we go. My mom is calling through. I've been asking for like a 15-minute conversation, because sometimes I find it annoying, like the back and forth. And I'm like, if I could just get them on the phone for 15, 20 minutes and explain everything, then they can hear my voice. But sometimes like these messages can go on for like weeks because they're not checking their Facebook, or they're ignoring me or whatever. I was just wondering if you've ever used that strategy.
When I first started coaching, I did. And honestly, you just like stepped on my toes a little bit. Like, I need to get back to that, because that works.
Yeah.
Like, I remember doing that even when talking about coaching with people.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea.
Sometimes it just takes the time out, if you could just like block in 15 minutes. Like, I'm doing that tomorrow with someone at 9 p.m. because she has kids. And I was like, I could do that at 9:50 or at 9 o'clock for 15 minutes. And instead of like taking 2, 3, my mom, she's probably like, why do you keep declining my call? So I don't know. I was just wondering, because sometimes it's annoying to me, like having all of these conversations, and it takes a while. It takes a lot of time sometimes.
I agree. And I think having that phone conversation feels a lot more authentic than messaging back and forth on Messenger.
Yeah.
But also allows you, like when they start to have the objections about time or money or whatever, I just feel like it's so much easier to talk about those things in a real conversation.
Yeah.
And have it feel like you're not just trying to push a sale than it is when you're trying to just text about it. Because I know for me, like for example, recently someone reached out to me and they were like, have you ever done a cleanse? And I instantly knew they were trying to sell me a cleanse. And I was like, yeah, actually I just did one back in March. And I let them know immediately what the issues were when I did it and what my issues were after I did it and why I would never do one again. Because I just wanted them to know, like, it didn't matter what came next in the conversation, it wasn't going to happen. And never heard back from her. So, but if we'd been on the phone having a conversation, she might have been able to get, keep me listening for a little bit longer. But I was able to just shut it down right away because it was a Facebook message. And I was like, yeah, this, and this, I'm not doing it, kind of thing. And then she dropped the ball too. But I think if we'd been on a phone conversation, then I might have actually been like, oh, really? So yours is different. Tell me how. Like I would have let her keep going, even if in my mind I knew I was going to say no.
I just think it's easier to cut people off, you know, on a text message versus like on the phone. And, you know, and I think that's where the voice texting can be a benefit too, because you hear people's voice, you hear their tone, you hear, you know, where they're coming from. But sometimes I find just like making an appointment for 15 minutes, I'd much rather do that and then follow up with them through a text message, because it can be time consuming.
I think that's a great piece of advice. In fact, I think that's why Joy is having so much success right now, because she's actually talking face to face with her people about what she's doing. A lot of them are coworkers. And so she's excited, and they can hear that and see that because they're right there with her having that conversation. So I just wanted to show you guys this other document, how to handle questions and objections. So this would be after your conversation gets started. So many of us, I mean, I would dare say every single one of us tried something before we found Beachbody that didn't work for us, right? And so we have our own objections to things. And so we know we're going to encounter objections to what we are doing, primarily because once you failed at one thing, you think you're going to fail at everything, right? So it's important to know that objections are a normal part of this business. It is not personal. It should not be taken personal. One thing that I have really worked on, and I feel like I've done a really good job in the last month or two coming to terms with, is I'm going to do what I know I need to do to achieve my goals. And if somebody else is not willing to show up and do what they need to do to achieve their goals, it doesn't say anything about me. It doesn't mean I'm not a good leader. It doesn't mean that I don't have good content to share. It doesn't mean whatever, right? All those nasty mean girl things that we can say in our head. It doesn't mean any of that. What it means is right now, it's not a priority to them. Nothing to do with me. Just like we can't go into our clients' homes and push play for them and make them sweat it out, we can't make someone show up to a team call and do the work. So many people are watching team calls on record or on playback, whatever you want to call it, but not actually doing the things that the team call is suggesting you do. How many of us listen to podcasts every single day of the week and actually implement what's being suggested in the podcast? You know, so you can't take it personally, but there are ways to handle those questions and objections in a way that hopefully will lead you to more success rather than feeling like defeated because somebody said, oh, you know, I don't do shakes, because that's a big thing. Like, I tried those in the past. I don't like them. Have you tried this one? So we do have this here. I'm not going to go through all these. I really just wanted to show you where they were and make sure that you're aware that they're there. But this is really great. Like sometimes people are just going to flat out say no. Okay. Sometimes they're going to ask about the price. I'm getting this even with my preschool right now. So many moms are reaching out to me like, tell me more about this. Oh, I can't afford that. Do you value your child's education? You know, like you can't do a shake. Do you value your nutrition? You know, one of the major things like that I've learned about nutrition in the last couple of weeks is sometimes it doesn't taste good. Sometimes stuff that's fueling my body properly doesn't taste great. Do I want to have a spinach salad? No, I want to have a sub, but spinach salad is going to do what I need it to do in order to help me reach my goals. So even though I don't like the spinach salad, I'm going to try to dress it up in a way that makes it feel good or taste a little better. And I'm going to eat the spinach salad, even though I want the French fries and Chick-fil-A nuggets. Sometimes you just have to be an adult and put your big girl panties on and do what you're supposed to do, not what you want to do, right?
The trainer from the 30-day breakaway, she said something to that effect too, that like sometimes the workout isn't fun. Like sometimes you're just training. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, you want to enjoy your workout, but you know, I was thinking about quitting it because it's hard and I don't like the running and it's cold. But when I was doing my last run, she was saying like, don't quit when it's hard. And I was like, okay, I feel like she's talking to me because we just want to do what we want to do and what we're comfortable doing.
There was this, was it a podcast I just listened to? It was so good. Christy, did you share it with me about getting outside your comfort zone? Or was it maybe it was some content in our challenge group. It was content in our challenge group. And there was a challenge to get outside your comfort zone. And there's a web page that made suggestions of all these different ways. They were challenging you to every day for 30 days, do something to get you outside your comfort zone. And it really made me step back because I read through some of them and I was like, this would be a really good exercise. Like, you don't like running, but try, like complete a program. How accomplished are you going to feel when you do your 5K? It doesn't mean that for the rest of your life you need to run every Saturday. It doesn't mean you ever need to do a half marathon or a full marathon, but it means you did something outside your comfort zone that pushed you, made you get outside when it was cold or, what have you. And you're going to be better for it after because you did something. You may never do it again, and that's totally okay. You can hate it and decide that's not my thing. But at least you gave it a go, and like a good solid go. I'm going to try to find that website so I can share it with you. It was definitely in our challenge group now that I think about it. Are there any other questions or anything like that you guys want to bring up today before it is almost 9:30 already? Anything else that you're struggling with lately that maybe we want to just kind of talk through or walk through? I know for me, the biggest thing right now is I'm not going to say time because I've always been the person who says you just make time for what's important. But at school, I literally have like 25 responsibilities right now because we're hybrid, and like even things that aren't normal teacher duties are now teacher duties before kids come in the room and all this stuff. I mean, I'm literally like cleaning kids' chairs before they can sit in them, like everything. And all teachers are. I'm not just saying like, woe is me. All teachers are in this boat right now. But that for me means there is not much time to fit in to my little pockets like I had gotten so accustomed to doing. So I'm having to reconfigure how to work this business. And it's been a little bit of a challenge, but also not as high on my priority list lately as like my self-care has been. So I need to not find balance because Glennon Doyle said this amazing thing on the leadership podcast or leadership meeting that we had with her. And it was pretty much like balance is bullshit. Like balance doesn't exist. We need to stop trying to achieve balance because you can't achieve balance. Like there are things that are priorities and you do them. And then tomorrow, maybe something else is a priority. So you do that. It's not like balance. You don't like one of the things she said was, when was the last time somebody asked your husband, how do you balance it all? How do you balance going to work and being a dad and hunting and being a husband? Nobody asks them that because it's not expected of them. But apparently it's something that women across the world are like trying to achieve and can't figure out why we can't get it done because it doesn't exist. She just put it in such good perspective, which if you haven't read her book, Glennon Doyle is like a goddess. She knows her stuff. I would highly suggest that book. Here it is. Okay. Let me type this website into our chat so that you can look at it if you want to. Oh, Jen, I just read your comment. Do you think you'll ever try it again?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So you still got something out of it.
Oh my, it's a once in a lifetime experiment, adventure.
Okay, there's the website. I really liked how it broke everything down. My only thing was, and maybe I didn't scroll far enough into it. I wish there was a graphic where it said like day 1, do this, day 2, do this. Maybe we could create one if we really wanted to, or maybe you could even just search on Pinterest and find one that's already been created. But I really liked how it challenged you to get outside your comfort zone. Like, one of the things that I'm trying to do is I read the same things all the time. I'm trying to read something new. I'm trying to find new podcasts because I've got into this groove where I like to listen to Keisha. I like to listen to Rachel. I like to listen to Dave. And I do the Team Beachbody, and that's it. And then Christy sent me this podcast the other day about gut health. And I was like, who's this chick? And I've been like searching around on her podcast now. But I had not really found new stuff in a long time. So I needed that little nudge in order to try it. And I really liked what I've found so far. So I definitely think getting outside your comfort zone is important. Even if you don't feel like you're ready to start inviting people because that's too far outside your comfort zone, then at least start engaging with them and start having conversations that end up going private one-on-one. Like, I mean, it could be about what she wore in her family photos. I mean, it doesn't need to be anything crazy. All right. Darren Daily on Demand is a good one. Oh, that's another podcast. Okay. Christy, does Bobby Bones have a podcast that you like?
No.
No. Okay.
But he does own several podcasts because he has a podcast company.
Oh.
The 4 Things with Amy Brown is really good. That's with his co-host. And then she actually I just found some more podcasts, y'all. It's crazy. So 4 Things with Amy Brown. And then so the one that I had sent you was called Mind Your Hormones, which was really good. That one's with Corinne Angelica. I really like that one. And then, okay. So if you ever had any kind of like disordered eating, not necessarily like anorexia or bulimia, but we all have some level of disordered eating, with our emotional eating or whatever. Right around quarantine time, Amy Brown and a registered dietitian, her name is Lisa, they did a 4-part series called Outweigh, because a life without disordered eating outweighs everything. And they had so much success with it that they actually created a podcast, and it just launched, and it's called Outweigh, Outweigh, and it is so good.
I just found it.
Yes, it is so good. So if you have ever struggled with emotional eating, anything eating related, I highly recommend at least just listening to the 4-part series for season 1. And then if you decide that it's not for you, then don't continue. But it's really, really good, because I never considered myself as having disordered eating. But after listening to that, I was like, oh my gosh, like had I known these strategies and tools years and years ago, like I could have been so much happier. And so it's good. Highly recommend it.
I think it's been eye-opening for me seeing, like, especially in quarantine, what I just like naturally slipped into because of what I witnessed and it was surrounded by growing up. Like, for so long, I'd made all these really conscious decisions about what I was putting in my mouth and how much I was putting in my mouth and all this. And then quarantine hit, and it was like, we're home. So I'm going to make the Dole Whip recipe from Disney, and I'm going to do this, and we're going to make homemade flurries, and we're going to do this. Because I was like, this is how I'm going to love on you. This is how I'm going to show you that we're going to spend quality time together. And this is how we're going to do life during this special time that we get to call quarantine.
Yes. And that ice cream sandwich
Yeah.
thing that you made. Thanks
Yeah.
for that, because I made that too.
I know. I mean, like for the first 6 weeks, it was like all the things. And that's like my mom's love language. She makes food and forces it on you because that's how she loves you. And I was like, oh man, talk about an eye opener. Like I learned this firsthand. Like this is going to be something I have to stop so that my kids don't repeat this cycle, kind of thing. Or like sitting on the couch with the bag of Doritos or the container of Oreos instead of just like 2 or a little bowl full, and just realizing, oh God, during that movie, I just ate the entire bag, kind of thing. Like that's what I grew up around, and just slipped right into that habit when I was like, we're going to live our best life during this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is interesting how we pick up habits, because like growing up, like our big thing was on the weekends and getting snack trays and eating. And till this day, I find great enjoyment in that. And I love like getting my food with the snack tray and putting a movie on. Like that's my thing. Like, oh, a movie's on. Okay, well now we need to get food for this movie.
Yeah. Or like
So-
nightly microwaved popcorn, like every night, just because it's 7 p.m. So it's time to pop the popcorn. Nobody's hungry, but it's that time. So that's what we
Or
do.
yeah.
Or the cocktail
Yep.
that I never used to drink.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm still trying to break that. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. I think I'll have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh, yeah.
that White Claw sounds really good. This is totally off topic, but I went to happy hour, and actually Bruce's teacher was drinking something called hop water. Have you guys ever heard of that? Okay, so I looked it up, and it is made from hops. So it has like the flavor of beer, but it's basically sparkling water. So it doesn't have any calories, doesn't have any carbs. It's like drinking sparkling water, but with the flavor of beer. So there's a website, I guess, that you can order. It's like called Hop Water or Hops Water. And so I ordered some, and I'm waiting for them to come because I want to stop drinking so much, but I really like the taste of alcohol, especially since I've like, I don't know, I can't, that's a hard habit to break. And anyway, so I'm looking forward to trying that because like I said, it's the taste of beer, but non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I'd like
No
to
calories.
hear your take on it, because since I've been really like mindful of my nutrition, been really mindful of the carbs and calories in my drinks that I am still allowing myself to have, but definitely portion controlling them a lot better than I was for a long time. And I've learned like a Zevia soda that is 0 calories, no aspartame, any of that stuff, with some liquor in it is a lot better choice for me than, you know, like a couple White Claws or something. So I've been really mindful. But I literally just said to Ricky the other night, I was like, I really wish there was something that tasted like Fireball that wasn't Fireball, because I just want to drink Fireball all the time because I like Fireball. It's not because I want the alcoholic drink. I want the cinnamon flavor in my cream soda kind of thing. Like, we got to figure something out here. So I'm with you, girl.
I wonder if you could do, because I've never had Fireball before, so I'm not exactly sure what it tastes like, but Thieves Oil is really cinnamony.
Oh.
I wonder if you could put that into, and you can digest it. So I wonder if you could put that into, you just said cream soda.
Mhm.
So, what are those Zevias?
Yeah.
You put like a drop or 2 of Thieves. I don't know. Might
I
taste
might
like
try
that.
it. I might try it because when you put Fireball in cream soda, it tastes like cinnamon roll. It's so good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that.
I
Okay.
only do 1 drop of Thieves.
Yeah, just one.
I'll be like breathing fire.
Yeah, it's really super cinnamony. Yeah, just do one.
All right, I'm gonna stop